Rangmunch with Alima is back on this 1170. Yesterday I was introduced to a really wonderful person. I mean, a common friend of ours, and she apparently started a non-profit organization called Sangam Arts, and she was talking to me about it and explaining to me, what it is and what's all about. And it's kind of like it's like an organization that's trying to build connections between different cultures through art.
Oh, that's
cool.
Like,
and she was explaining to me, how everyone we have our concerts, we have our cultural programs and everything, but once that is done, that is done. And most of the time what happens is when we are growing up here, our kids are growing up here, and you do not know the whole stories and the culture and the epics and everything. When the dance is presented in that form, you really wouldn't understand it, because most of the time our performances are based on those stories and things like that. So she was talking to me, explaining to me that where she wanted to bring some kind of a commonality.
That's
where
cool.
where it just doesn't pertain to specific stories, but you take like general topics and you come up with productions where you still would present them in your cultural dance form, but everyone across the board would understand it. So I thought it was very, very interesting. But anyways, I have Usha Srinivasan, and she's the one who, along with one of her friends, who has opened this non-profit organization called Sangam Arts, and I have online on Desi 1170. And Usha, you with us?
Yes. Hi, Alima. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Oh, it's all my pleasure. And I'm sue you guys must be so busy as this event is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yes. I didn't realize how much effort went into creating an event like this and publicizing it. But it's all good, and thank you so much for your support.
Oh, anytime. I mean, I used to be a classical dancer. It seemed like a lifetime ago, but for a better part of my adult life, and we even give so many performances in India and everything and all that stuff. So I totally understand the art, and and I have a major appreciation for any kind of art. So your Sangam Arts, just let our listeners know what exactly the mission of Sangam Arts is.
Okay, wonderful. So Sangam Arts is a non-profit organization that recently I co-founded with Sandhya Kalyan Sundaram, who's also a Bharatanatyam dancer. And our mission is to help create and nurture strong intercultural connections between the Indian diaspora and the many diverse cultures that we have around us. And we want to use the classical arts as a platform to doing that. So, we are very passionate about classical dance and music, and we want to use that as a platform to basically expand the audience for classical arts, while at the same time providing a basis for us to connect with other cultures that have very strong classical traditions.
Well, that's very interesting. So what is this event that that Sangam Arts is coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we're really excited to launch. Essentially, it's our coming out party. So we have, our debut event that we are presenting on August 17th at the Mexican Heritage Plaza Theater from 6 to 8 p.m. And we're presenting a solo Bharatanatyam dance ballet, if you will, by the very famous Savita Sastry. So perhaps a lot of your listeners are already familiar with her. She is she's a classic Bharatanatyam dancer, is very well known, has fantastic following all the world over. But a few years ago, what Savita decided was to kind of pursue a different approach to Bharatanatyam. So her philosophy is that Bharatanatyam is a very rich medium. It has a very extensive vocabulary. It's a beautiful art form that's visually very appealing. But by kind of sticking to the mythological stories and the very traditional format, of telling stories in languages like Tamil and Telugu and so on, and using primarily Carnatic music, the audience that is not familiar with it, you Alima, you're very familiar with it. Like you said, you're a dancer, and a lot of the people that attend the Bharatanatyam dances, and this is true of all other dance forms like Kathak and Odissi and so on, because you've been exposed to it, you have a feel for the music, you understand the gestural language, you understand the mythological stories that are usually the basis for most of our dances. But what Savita's point of view is, if you are somebody that's not from the Indian culture, let's say you're just maybe a Mexican American background or Chinese American, and you come to watch something like this, you simply cannot relate to the stories because you don't have the background. You don't understand the language. Heck, even like my kids don't understand the language.
It's kind of when you listen to the operas or when you watch the operas. I mean, they're beautiful. They literally make you cry, but you have no clue what they are saying.
Right on. Yeah, and so, what happens is they're able to appreciate the visual aspects of it, and maybe they like the sound of the music, but they're not truly able to engage at the deeper level at which classical arts are meant to be enjoyed. And so what she has done, and this is why we chose Savita for this opening, the opening event of ours, is what she's done is created these 1 hour to 1 hour 10-minute productions that are based on very universal themes. So the one that we are presenting is called Yudh, and it is the story about war told from 3 different perspectives. And the music is spectacular. It's very eclectic. It's based on Carnatic ragas, so you're not going to see rock and roll kind of music in it, but it's got like it's meant to appeal to a broad audience that is used to very high production value kind of movies and maybe Bollywood type of shows. So her point is, let us take this beautiful art form and present it in a manner that appeals to the broader audience. Otherwise, we are going to pretty much restrict the audience to a very small slice of what we potentially could. And so, you and I talked about this yesterday. For our kids who didn't grow up in India, to be here and to be presenting stories that are from a different era, based on mythology is great. I think I enjoy that.
Right.
But we would also like them to be able to take this art form and make it their own.
Right.
And part of making it their own is kind of, having it reflect the world that they live in, which is a very diverse world, and where the life stories are very different, the experiences are very different. And so we want to essentially create a platform where people can come together, bring their own classical arts to the table. We all learn about each other. It doesn't mean that we are going to have a fusion or a mix.
Right.
I will always be a Bharatanatyam dancer, but I can tell stories about different things. Maybe we can create a story about bullying at schools.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. In fact, I was just going to say those things where to be more specific and to be to explain it like in layman terms for all the listeners out there. The main premise is like we can take up social causes and social issues and problems and make a production out of it. You know, but we are going to be presenting it in our cultural, in our own classic way.
Exactly.
And I think that is very commendable. I mean, I mean, as it is, I am such a favorite person of art and everything, but you've kind of really generated so much interest and hype in me. It's like, so I was just telling my daughter on the drive here, I said, next couple of weeks we're going to go into that, we're going to go to that concert and or the program, and you guys are going to get a chance to see what Bharatanatyam and what Kuchipudi was like.
Yes.
You get a feel for the way I used to dance when way back when I was in India. You'll have an idea, because they are never ever related me with that part of my life.
That's correct. That's exactly right. It's so insular, right? I mean, they see it, they understand it. But, my dancer, my daughter is a dancer, and Sandhya's daughter is a dancer, and we want them to kind of have an exposure to all the other influences and then come up with original, creative, productions that are their own. So it's kind of the way I think about it, it's like writing poetry, right?
Right.
What we have is a wonderful language which is very rich in the gestural language, and it's amazing how much you can convey through any dance form, but particularly through something like Bharatanatyam or Kuchipudi, where there are elements of not just the pure dance, but also the abhinaya.
Right.
And, the use of the eyes and everything, including your fingertips.
Yes, exactly.
And so I think it's wonderful. And the other thing that I think, Alima, we were talking about it yesterday. One of the things I find is there's very limited kind of exposure for our kids to other classical art forms. I mean, we have a lot of kids that learn the piano. Yes, that is one thing that I will say. But in terms of kind of understanding, for example, folklorico or flamenco, taiko, or the Korean dance, I don't think that we kind of make those overtures to those cultures and learn about them, because I think one way to get other people interested is to show interest in their art.
Yeah, it's more like we just enjoy the performances, but we never ever really delve into even a teeny eensy bit of their history or how that dance form came. What are they trying to say? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You're right on. So we're hoping that it's ambitious. Our goal is eventually we'll have a broader audience of people that have a great understanding of the different arts and are able to appreciate it at a deeper level, and we're able to truly understand other cultures at a deeper level.
Correct. It's all baby steps, Usha.
Correct.
Baby steps. So if people for people to get the tickets and everything, I mean, do you have like links and information?
Yes. You can check us out at www.sangamarts.org or look us up on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Sangam Arts .org. You can, if you want tickets to the event, you can go to sangamarts.brownpapertickets.com. And of course you can look us up on the website. You have links to go and get tickets. You can look up more details on the artist. I think she's a fabulous artist. She's been performing to packed auditoriums in India and getting really critical acclaim because people see her as kind of redefining Bharatanatyam for the modern age.
Right.
That's not to say that Bharatanatyam needs people to completely redo things. I mean, we're just saying that the way it is right now is beautiful, it's wonderful. Even the places like in Bay Area, we have so many great classical dancers for Odissi and, all the different 8 styles.
Right.
But I think we could use some innovation in how we present it to an audience that has no background or reference.
Exactly. Those two, for people who are listening on to our show, This performance by Savita Sastry is at the Mexican Heritage Theater in Mexican Heritage Plaza, 1700 Alum Rock Avenue, San Jose, and it's on 17th August, Saturday, 6 p.m. And of course, Usha has already given you the links for the tickets and everything. The link, I'm pretty sure, is also on my timeline for all my friends who are on my Facebook listing. And of course, Usha and Sangam Arts is also giving us away some free tickets for the performance. So, any first caller who calls into the radio show Rangmunch with Alima gets 2 free tickets. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exciting, yes.
No, I am excited. Actually, I've never been excited about a performance as much as I'm excited about this, because and that's why I had messaged you saying, hey, you know what, I think I want to make it, and I was and in fact the Mexican Heritage Plaza is like Tiffany, about a couple of exits away on Alum Rock. Alum Rock is right close by. See, it's perfect.
It's
actually
wonderful.
So in fact, that is going to be great, Usha, because I get to watch the performance and then I do my radio show, and then I can talk about the performance. I think it's perfect.
Great,
see?
Wonderful.
See, things always seem to work out sometimes.
It does. Your audience will love it. I mean, the show's awesome, and we really seek your support and the support of your audience. And, we're looking for partners, and we're reaching out to all the schools, the dance schools in the Bay Area, because we believe that we need to start with the kids. So thank you again so much.
Anytime. Just feel free to chime in anytime you would like us to pass any information to all our listeners. And, so, there you go. This is Usha Srinivasan from Sangam Arts, and we are looking for a performance right there. If you wish to have your free tickets, hey, the number to call is 408-912-5565. And Usha, thank you so much for calling us in.